Welcome to Deadlands Dime Novels, The Adventures of Young and Holt, Issue 53, Step 2. I'm your narrator, Ernest Wick, intrepid reporter for the Tombstone Epitaph. In this issue, Young and Holt are fleeing the carnage they caused at the storage barn used by Reddington. They're now about to take things a step further as they move to stop the scientists' plans. Oh, and stick around until the end. We've got a bit of a surprise for y'all. Well, the pieces are falling into place, so it's time to see where they're at.
We did indeed leave off as you were doing the cool guys don't look at explosions and leaving Barton Stables a burning mess with all of the crates and the little spiny discs inside. And if I remember correctly, you had gotten far enough away, blended into the crowd. People were rushing down to go and fight this fire that was going on at the stables, and you were able to effectively get away from there.
To be fair, Porter puts on a really good terrified face, so
yes,
he's just scared.
So it was much easier for you to blend in, that's for sure.
That's right.
Yeah, and it was quite dark, or quite into the evening at that point. So I'm assuming you're just going to go to bed at that.
Yeah, I think Porter's a little exhausted.
Go ahead, both of you, and make me vigor rolls. And Porter, this is a sleep-based one, because I know that you're a heavy sleeper, so yours is going to be at -2.
All right. 3.
3, and Joshua actually got a 2. So both of you sleep much later than you intended to. And by the time you get up, it's not like it's not like you wake up at lunchtime or anything like that, but getting up with the sun is definitely not what happens here. So you're probably maybe an hour, 2 hours after sunrise by the time you get up and make your way downstairs. In which hotel were you guys staying at again? Well, were you staying at your regular hotel or your safe house hotel?
I'd be, I think, at the regular hotel.
Regular, yeah.
Rocky Rest.
Rocky Rest. All right, here we go. Both of you actually kind of get up at roughly the same time and make your way down, get a cup of coffee, get some breakfast. There's all of the talk that you're hearing is about the fire last night, conjecture as to what it was. Some people are saying, the stories kind of run a gamut from it being, people not trusting Barton, the owner of the stables, to the Confederate mercenary soldiers, or former Confederate mercenary soldiers, getting too drunk last night. You do hear a couple people claim to have heard gunshots prior to the fire, but it just becomes part of the conversation that's being had amongst the people as you're kind of overhearing everything. But what is it that you would like to do this morning?
First, Porter's going to just kind of keep an ear out and see if anyone's pinned down the exact cause. Even if it's a guess, just to make sure his name isn't floating. He doesn't want to be caught up in all that, even though he caused it. He doesn't want to be caught up in all that.
No. Yeah.
Just keep an ear out.
You're not hearing anything that stands out strangely. But actually, you know what? As you finish up and make your way outside, both of you make me a hearing-based notice check.
All right. I got a nice 10.
So Porter got a 10, Joshua got a -2. Excellent. So as you're making your way down the streets, casually listening, stretching, your morning constitutional, that kind of thing, Porter, you do hear something that catches your attention as you're going past the porch of some store along the street. You hear somebody talking, and they're saying, "Yeah, I heard that this gentleman with a strange look about him. He was wearing a skull cap sort of thing. I guess he was quite upset." The person he's talking to. "Oh, upset, you say? What was he? Did he have some goods in there?" That I don't know, but I know I was up early this morning, and I saw him yelling at some of the soldiers, but they yelled at him for a little bit, and they kind of got together with a few other people, and they headed out of town. So whatever he had in there, I don't know if he was leaving or if the fire ended up just driving him away, but yeah, the entourage of them, they left. They went straight out of town. Oh, well, that happens. Hope it wasn't too bad for him. Yeah, that's true. He's a funny-looking fellow, though. Odd jacket. Yeah, his face looked like it had been cut up or had all kinds of scars on it and whatnot. Yeah, probably best he left then. People like that usually don't have good things going on. Yeah. All right, well, I'll see you. I'll be around about lunchtime. They kind of break up and walk away from each other.
So, Porter.
Yeah?
How'd you sleep?
I'll be honest, surprisingly well.
I'm a little stiff this morning. I think I slept on one side a little too much. Kind of stopped up a little bit in one ear.
You're getting old, aren't you?
Ain't no getting about it.
So, as we were walking down the street, and I'll kind of relay what I just heard to Joshua, that doesn't exactly sound like Reddington.
That he's running scared?
No, the description of him, not necessarily the actions. I could totally see him doing the actions. There's one thing he's good at, it's running away. I mean, he has done it twice on us now.
Well, I can understand that description, because when I was speaking with the gentleman, lady, I forget. I've slept since then. At the desk, they said that he had a lot of bandages and wounds. And I did put a double shot in the back of his head.
Yeah, but would you call that cut up? Or, I guess, maybe I'm thinking too much about it. That's probably it. In any case, it sounds like he may be retreating out of town to the valley.
Sounds like, and if you want him to watch things that he owns burn, not much we can burn around here to get him to notice.
But we could still go visit the Julian and see what's there.
I'd be good with that. We know what room he was in.
That's right. And I'd rather have some idea of what he's doing than nothing at all.
Well, Mr. Holt, lead on. I'll mosey on behind you.
All right. To the Julian it is.
To the Julian. So you go into the Julian, and I believe you have been here before, Joshua, and it's quite stately, quite nice, very extravagant, very wealthy hotel. There's a few people milling around here in the lobby because it's late morning, so you have a few of your more cultured folk taking care of things here. You don't see anything, unusual or odd happening in the lobby. Is there something you're looking for in particular?
We're going to his room.
Are you going to go straight to his room?
We're basically I'm gonna hold a conversation with Porter, and we'll walk in as if this is where we're staying and head on up to the room. Just walk right on by everybody.
You get up to right in front of his door. Well, I would imagine Porter does this. You take a little listen at the door. You don't hear anything on the inside.
Joshua leans up against the wall beside the door and just kind of keeps an eye out, down each of the halls. And when he doesn't see anybody, he'll just give a nod to Porter.
And Porter is going to pick himself some lock.
All right, let's make that thievery test.
Oh, and here I thought you were going to look through the keyhole and teleport in.
Well, that I'll remember that, but Porter is used to picking locks, so this is I gotta double check if I actually bought lockpicks at some point. I did. Does that count in Suede or not? That is the question.
You mean, does it give you a bonus?
Yes, or do I just need them?
So let's just say that yes. I mean,
They're needed for it.
They're needed to allow you to do that.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so he fishes in his coat and pulls out a small little pouch of lockpicks and gets to work. And that's a thievery of D6.
Ooh, not quite.
I think this is kind of important to Porter, so we're gonna. Oh wait, what do I have? Oh, I have 3 whites. I will just spend a white, and that's a reroll, correct?
Correct.
There we go. There's a 4.
All right, so you bend down and you're working there, and Joshua's just kind of looking off to the side, making sure everything's good, and it doesn't take you too long, and you're able to click the lock open and turn the knob.
Porter just gives Joshua a nod and steps in as if it were casual. This was his room.
Joshua follows it in. One last look up and down the hallway. Closes the door behind him.
All right. So you walk in the room, and it's actually quite nice in here. It's certainly larger than yours, but in here there's a bed, a dresser, I believe armoire also here as well, the wash basin, and then off to the side by the window there's a desk and a chair. It is not messy, but it's a bit unkempt in here. The bed certainly is not made. There does not appear to be any personal gear or supplies or whatnot, but over by the wash basin, there's a number of dirty, slightly with maybe tinged with a little bit of blood rags around there, and they appear to be a little wet. Over by the desk, there are some papers that are on the desk, and that's about all you see here.
Knowing that Reddington, blonde coat, skull cap, likes secret doors and hidden areas, he's figuring Porter's probably going to check out the desk. So Joshua's going to start looking around, looking for anything that might open up or reveal a passageway, so to speak.
All right, make me a notice check there, Joshua. Ooh, very nice. All right. And Porter, what are you doing while Joshua starts poking around into other areas?
Porter is, before he looks at the papers, he's actually going to go through the entire desk, carefully checking each drawer, and pull out every piece of paper, information, anything that catches his interest out of the drawers, and lay them all out on the desk.
Joshua, while you're searching, you don't find any secret doors, but you do find behind the armoire, you noticed it was just slightly off kilter against the wall, and so you slide it out, and like behind and underneath the lower part of it, because there's like a drawer on the bottom, or at least in the front of the armoire, it looked like there was a drawer. That turned out to actually be a false drawer, and there is a little hidden pocket underneath this and behind this section of the armoire, and in there is like a carpet bag that you slowly pull out.
I'll take it around and find a corner of the bed that's not covered in paper and start going through that.
You open it up, and in there you find a number of really odd things. It looks like there's a few bottles with like cork stoppers on them. There is some strange looking pieces of machined iron shaped into certain things. A few additional gears. I don't want to say this is like some sort of steampunk cosplayer's bag, but there's
But it's a steampunk
but it's a steampunk cosplayer's bag.
Wait
Yeah.
for it.
I'm not saying it's aliens, but no, it's there's a number of just oddities in here. Almost is like a random bag of either gears, liquids that aren't easily identifiable, a few scraps and bits of notes in here as well.
I will take Reddington's peculiar, partially filled purse with me when we go and stop going through it at this point.
All right. Porter, you find as you're going through the papers, it's a little disturbing because you find none of it is making any sort of immediate sense to you. Some of the pages that you find appear to have diagrams on them for something. Sketches of either some sort of handheld item, which maybe combines either onto a belt or harness of sorts. A couple of these also have disturbing looking images of something that is vaguely humanoid, but the way it's drawn almost seems reminiscent of the creature that you have encountered when you've done your deals with the devil. Doesn't look exactly like it, but it has similarities to that. And there's just like some additional either scratching or drawing or inking around there that gives these images a bit more of a sinister kind of appearance. There's notes either on these drawings or on other pieces of these or the pages that you find that start off to be coherent and then quickly go into some sort of bizarre ramblings. One thing that does catch your attention as you're going through here and trying to make some sense of this, there is one piece of paper that looks like it came out of something, so it wasn't like its own freestanding. It must have come out of a book of some sort. And there is a notation at the bottom of this particular thing, and the illustration kind of catches your attention because it looks vaguely familiar. The illustration is of the inside of the burial mound that you were in outside of Worthington, or at least it looks like that. And then there's notations where he essentially comments, was able to obtain a corpse, lost one of my gunmen in the process from unknown assailants. And that is about all that you find and can make out of there.
And also I'm checking the desk for any secret drawers, anything like that, that sort of thing.
Make me a notice roll.
Wow. Order is not focused, apparently.
You do not find any.
I don't need to spend a penny on that. Alright, so Porter gets all these. And unfortunately, it did not appear to be any notes about All Seasons Valley. There were some disturbing notes, but we're not going to mention those. And we're going to just kind of gather them all up and just kind of put them in nice. Is there like a fireplace or anything in here?
You want to take them with you? I got a nice carpet bag here. Looks like somebody took a clock apart and stuck it in a bag, but we could throw all the paperwork in here. Might be able to give it back to Ingersoll.
Is there a fireplace in here?
There is not. There's like a tiny little wood stove kind of thing used primarily for heating.
He wanted us to collect receipts.
Yeah, right. Don't forget to keep your receipts for your expenses.
So, Porter is actually going to hand Joshua one set, which is mostly the incoherent writings, the book one that came out of the journal about him obtaining the corpse, that sort of thing. And then all the drawings on the Manitos, he is going to chuck that in the wood stove and light the wood stove. That's information that doesn't need to get out. Even on accident.
While you do that, Porter,
Yes.
while you light it, make me a spirit roll.
Okay. Oh my god. I am
Ooh.
rolling low. That is a 2 on a D8.
Wow. While you light it, and the papers begin to crackle, curl, as the flames take them up, you go to turn away from it, but your eyes, for some reason, are drawn back. Joshua's muttering something to you, and it just kind of fades into the background, and you don't really hear what he's saying. And you just stare at these flames as the papers are going up. While they're burning, one of the ones that was particularly of the way the eyes were drawn, it almost seems like the paper begins to turn in the stove and position itself in such a way as the flames are coming in on all four sides. It positions itself in a way that the paper stares directly at you, and you're staring back at it. And you're looking at it, and the flames are coming in closer, and they're burning the paper a bit more and more, and it's beginning to get a little bit brighter. The eyes are staring directly at you, and you're looking right back at these eyes. And then they blink. And the flames then curl the paper right around there. And instead of feeling the warmth from the heat of the flames as you're standing there staring, you feel almost like a cold kind of wash in front of your face just for a moment. And then it fades, and you blink, and then the papers have completely curled up in the flames of the fire, and you cannot see anything more in there except for just the black sheets of these burnt papers.
So Porter has gone, completely silent as he's tossing these papers in the flame. I don't know how long it looks to Joshua before he just kind of stands there. He just goes a little pale and just stands there until and then finally gives it a little poke to make sure the ashes break. And he finally turns away and just makes a beeline right out of the room. Just not even saying a word, just walks right out of the room.
Now, I figured you'd want to set this place on fire. Joshua will leave, take one more look at the room, close the door, follow after Porter.
Joshua, as you walk out, you shut the door, and Porter, you're standing there and in the hallway and just kind of breathing and recovering. Joshua, the door is shut. You hear down the hall another door opens, and you hear a very pleasant sounding female voice, and she's speaking back into the room, and she says, "And you have yourself a pleasant good morning as well, sir. We'll see you soon." She closes the door and turns, and it's Victoria. And she looks at the two of you. "Joshua and Porter."
Why, Victoria, looking radiant as ever.
Well, she begins to fan herself. "Well, thank you very much." And she walks up to you, extends her hand, and gives it each one of you, just a little slight formal shake. "And how are the two of you today? I had no idea that you were staying here, or are you visiting someone?"
We were just heading out, actually.
"Oh, I see. Well, by all means, please escort me back down to the lobby, as I also am heading out. I was just conducting a little business for Daddy in here, and so, but please.
Why, certainly. I'll take the carpet bag that Josh was holding, kind of slam it into Porter's chest, and then offer my arm to Victoria and start leading her out.
And yeah, she loops right through.
So Porter, as you walk with her, Porter's doesn't follow immediately. He just kind of stares in confusion as Joshua just walks off.
As the two of you are about to leave, and Porter's standing there holding this bag, Victoria actually turns, and she also hands you her umbrella.
Hangs it on the handles of the bag while I've got both arms holding up the bag.
Yes, and so then that frees up her other hand, so she grabs onto your hooked elbow there, Joshua, so you can escort her properly. And how has your stay in Denver been so far?
Why, there is some good steakhouses here.
Interesting. You care to share a little secret? I'm always out for a good meal.
The Denver Brew House
Ooh.
had quite the nice steak. Had a pair of them.
Ooh, a hungry man. Very nice. The Denver Brew House, that sounds rather roguish of sorts. Not necessarily a formal place. Sounds like an exciting place to eat.
Well, I hear there's some exciting things going on around town.
Yes, there was a fire last night. Out at the just on the edge of town, from what I have been told. A stable went up.
I wonder what was out there.
I don't know. I was asking around, and I've heard that it was owned by Mr. Barton. I have not had the pleasure to meet him yet, but apparently he was renting it out to some former Confederate soldiers and some visitor from out east, with a bit of a problem with his face. I guess maybe he's a veteran of some sort, got hurt in the war or something. I'm just conjecturing here, but sounds like, yeah, he had a bit of a facial problem, I guess. But anyway, yes, it was, it burnt. And from the people I talked to, it sounds like maybe it was some sort of sabotage or something, that maybe these Confederate soldiers had something in there. So my guess is that it's on some of these Union troops that I've seen walking around here, even though these Confederates are former Confederates, mercenaries of sorts. But, old hatreds, they die hard.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have to be careful not to be caught in the middle of any gunfire that might be happening. You take care of yourself now.
Well, of course, as exciting as that would be. But yes, I would not necessarily want to be on the business end of things like that.
So where shall we escort you to?
Oh, well, that is a very good question. Actually, I can just remain here in the lobby. It's going to be a little while before my next meeting of sorts. But of course, it's always a pleasure to meet two of the fellow survivors from our interesting train ride.
It was a very interesting train ride, and I'm glad to see you're doing well and not overcome by any of that excitement. It seems to suit you.
I am enjoying it. I'm so glad that Daddy sent me out here. Porter, what about you? You've been awfully silent here.
Porter's kind of mulling this over in his head, and then he finally sort of picks up on that you're both staring at him, waiting for him to respond to whatever question Victoria asked.
You seem to be lost in your own little world today, Porter.
I'm sorry, what?
Porter, it is rude to ignore a lady such as Victoria.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I was thinking about our plans for the day. Joshua, would you mind if I went and got a guide to our next location?
Not at all. I was thinking about visiting the dry goods store and seeing if they had some new tobacco.
Ooh, yes. Yes, I've always enjoyed the smell of the tobacco that Daddy had with his pipes, so I can understand your appeal. There's all manner of good things here in this city. Things from both east and west. Very nice.
Porter's fidgeting a little. In that case, he sets the bag down next to Joshua, carefully sets the umbrella on top of the bag and says, I will leave you two while I go find our guide, as I do not know how long this will take.
Of course. Of course.
Victoria, it was a pleasure to see you again.
And you as well. Like I told Joshua, it's always a pleasure to... it's like we have our own little secret club here from what we all went through. So it's nice to just reconnect a little bit.
That's true, isn't it? Porter gets a little smile and kind of quickly scampers out.
He's a nervous little ferret, isn't he?
He is. I don't think he's handling all the excitement quite as well as you and I.
Oh, I see. Speaking of handling things, and now this is again just me, almost in a certain way of conjecturing, Mr. Young, but a man such as yourself, in your veteran status, shall we say, does this life of traveling such as this, does this suit you? I mean, clearly you have some experience, and I don't mean to be bold. I know that Daddy certainly could use gentlemen with your skill set back out east. Have you ever thought about moving into a bit more of a a relaxing form of security, so to speak.
You mean settling down into one spot and not seeing all this great country that the good Lord has given us?
Well, that is one way of looking at it, but I guess I might counter by saying perhaps it is a way to have a consistently comfortable bed and food that is a bit more refined for your palate.
Well, ma'am, as tempting as that sounds, it's my experience that cities, towns, and me don't get along. Seems like I'm getting run from one place to another.
I see, I see. We all have our problems, no doubt about it. But keep such things in mind because, as I said, we have this a bit of a shared history now, and you certainly have proven your worth, and I would be more than happy to vouch for you to Daddy. And there may be jobs that he has that might fit your ways.
Well, that is mighty nice of you, ma'am, and I will keep that in mind.
And of course, the same would go there for that little nervous ferret Porter as well. But because I know that the two of you are thick as thieves.
Picked up on that, did you? Yes, we are.
That's a nice thing. Well, all right, Mr. Young, I don't want to keep you from going to the dry goods store. So by all means, if you have to go, you go right ahead.
Well, if you're going to be okay with yourself right here, I will leave you then. Here's your umbrella, ma'am, and please excuse me.
Thank you very much. She gives you a little pat on the shoulder as you go to leave.
Joshua tips his hat and gives her a wink and heads out.
Well, it was nice to see Victoria once again. I'm glad she's doing well. It seems Young and Holt are doing fairly well themselves, but they're going to need some help. We just may find out who that'll be in our next issue, The Guide. The part of Porter Holt is played by Brad Smith. Joshua Young is played by Brent Rich, and your intrepid marshal is played by Chris Hussey. This game references the Savage Worlds game system available from Pinnacle Entertainment Group at peginc.com. It is unofficial media content permitted under the Media Network Content Agreement. This content is not managed, approved, or endorsed by Pinnacle Entertainment Group, and certain portions of the materials used are the intellectual property of Pinnacle, and all rights are reserved. Savage Worlds, all related settings, and unique characters, locations, logos, and trademarks are copyrights of Pinnacle Entertainment Group. Thanks also to Fear the Boot. Support their Patreon at patreon.com/feartheboot. Intro music by Half Deaf Clatch. Exit music by Beelzebub Jones. And some sound effects by Plate Mail Games. Contact information for the cast as well as music links can be found in the notes on our website, youngandholt.com. If you enjoy these issues, please consider dispensing a lovely 5-star review on wherever you do listen from. Please search for Fear the Boot Actual Play. It's kindly appreciated. I'm Ernest Wick for the Tombstone Epitaph. And remember, if you're going to climb a tree, you have to grab the branches, not the blossoms. Hey everybody, this is Chris, your marshal for The Adventures of Young and Holt and Gun for Hire. Told you we had a little surprise for you. Here it is. We're doing a contest. Our good friends at Norse Foundry have blessed us with a chance for you to win a set of their metal alloy dice. And here's all you need to do. 2020 has been a very, very hard year for everybody, so we're going to make this just slightly easier for you. Wherever you do listen to us from, go on your podcast listening service of choice. Leave us either a 4 or 5 star review, and I say 4 or 5 stars because honestly, like I said, 2020 has been a tough year. I don't want to put that much pressure on anyone. So, 4 or 5 star review, get a screen cap of said review, and then hit me up on social media with said screen cap. You can find links to my Twitter account within any episode of Young and Holt or Gun for Hire, or just find me at The Husman, all one word. Now, we have 3 podcasts that are on the feed, and I love the SOG podcast, that's great, but within the review, you must mention either Young and Holt or Gun for Hire, or both, that's fine. Mentioning both will not get you 2 entries, but it gets you more love from me, I guess. Now, remember, when you do search for us, though, don't search by the name of the podcast. You need to search for Fear the Boot Actual Play. That's how you find us. So, 4 or 5 star review, screen cap, hit me up on social media. Contest begins on the 8th of December and will run through January 10th, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. And once I have a winner, I'll reach out and contact you, and we'll get you set up with your dice. So thanks to Norse Foundry, and thanks in advance to you folks. All right, we'll see you around.